Okay, and welcome to our Thursday night Dream Team call. I want to start the call with a few shout outs. First, those that are in our Shining Stars group, and especially Joelle, who is in that group, because she is participating and posting her 8 daily investments every day. And I also see her on this call. She's got her face blocked out because I know she's got kids with strep at home right now that she is trying to take care of. But just a shout out to her for being on this call, even when it's not convenient for her, and making it happen for her business. So good job to Joelle. Congratulations to those that are on the Success Club board already. We have several. I have not posted it yet because the back office is giving me some trouble. But once I can get into it, it will be up there. But we already had a good amount of people on it last month. So congratulations to everyone that's done that and that's rung the bell also in our group for getting your Success Club points. We have a few important dates to announce. Just a reminder, every Thursday night at 9 o'clock is our team call. Next week is going to be Katie Pourvoir, which is actually my success partner. So I'm excited for her to be speaking to our team. And then we have our sneak peek on the 24th through the 26th. We are doing it a little bit differently this month. It's a 3-day group instead of a 1-hour event. And I've challenged everyone to get at least 10 people into that sneak peek to hear this information. And then we have our Super Sunday on October the 30th in Louisville. If you are not from the Louisville area, then definitely reach out to me and we'll help you find one that is in your area. And then the very last important date that we have is Wednesday, November the 2nd. Melanie Mitro will be in Indianapolis to speak to our diamond coaches. But you have to be a diamond coach in order to come to that. So that is all of the announcements that I have, and I would like to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker for tonight, Ashley Witmer. She is from Buffalo, New York. Luckily, we're on the same time zone, and she is married with 3 kids and a lifetime 4-star diamond coach. So welcome, Ashley, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and try and just share my screen. Sometimes it takes a second to get it up and going, but I'm going to try here. You just let me know if you see it.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start. I will go ahead and tell you guys, I was very happy to have your coach come on and talk on our call on Tuesday, and it just worked out so beautifully that we could swap calls like this, and it was really nice to be able to get her on the call. It's funny because a lot of the things she said, you know, they're things that we've talked to our team about, but sometimes when you hear it from somebody else, it just is like a different perspective, and it's just really refreshing and nice to hear it from other people. So, you know, I wanted to just say, if you ever feel like you're getting information that you're getting over and over and over again, and it's the same thing, it's probably because of, you know, 2 things you can look at it. One, it's probably important information if you keep getting the same things over and over. So take tips from that. And another thing, like I said, sometimes it just takes hearing it from somebody else to really kind of hit it where you needed it to hit. So I just wanted to thank her again for being there and just getting a little bit different perspective for people. So I'm going to go ahead and click present. And yes, my name is Ashley Witmer. I have been a coach for, it'll be 3 years in the end of February. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I have 3 children. They are 11 and 8 and 6, and they keep me very, very, very busy. Once they all went back to school, like went in school, and I didn't have any little ones at home, I was really feeling like I had all this time for my business, and I thought I'd be able to get a lot more done, but now I just find myself stretched between running and being their taxi and doing this and that, and it's just different. It's not really more time, it's just different the way that it's spread out. So I'm kind of trying to work my way into getting my schedule with that and doing the best that I can. I am going to talk to you guys today about the power of your mindset. And this is a picture of my family here. We went to Disney this year. It was awesome. I was able to take my husband and my kids there, and that was their first time there. So it was a really special trip for us. And when I tend to do my team calls, I tend to do them on not so much of business related things like the tracking and like the time management and stuff like that. That stuff's not really my strong suit. I like to do the calls on things that have to do with mindset and personal development and lifestyle, because I truly believe that coaching is something that if you're all in and it's something you're passionate about, it just molds into your life and becomes part of you. And I believe that you just have to carry on with your life while intertwining coaching and trying to get the hang of it. And I think that, again, if you're passionate about it and it's something that's important to you, coaching just shows up everywhere in your life. Like, it really blends in such a way that I feel like the important things to keep you going, yes, I think, the vitals and the tracking, obviously, but it's really about mastering your mindset and making it a lifestyle change. So I tend to steer towards calls that build that, because I just think it's very important. I started thinking about this call when I had heard on another call that your mind and your mindset is like your garden, and the natural state of a garden is weeds. And so I started to think about that, and it really got my wheels like turning, because if you really think about your garden, your mind, as your garden, and how it naturally has weeds, that's kind of what's going on up there all the time. And if you don't change that at all, if you don't tend to your garden, if you don't pull the weeds, if you don't do those things and get the yuck and the negative and anything bad out of your mindset, you're really just going to be stuck with those weeds that are going to stay there. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not naturally going to take themselves out. You're not going to see change. But with just a little bit of work, removing the weeds, cleaning up your garden, your mindset, you're left then with soil and dirt. And that's great because it's better than the weeds, but it could be so much more if you just put a little bit more in. So I started thinking about that. Your mindset has so much potential, but you're not going to know that. You're not going to know what your garden is capable of to see the change and the beauty and what can grow and what can develop unless you work at it daily. It needs consistency. If you let your garden go, it's going to shrivel back down to weeds. Now, the beautiful thing about your mindset is no matter how many times it pulls back down to weeds and soil, you can get it back up and running. It just takes time, consistency, and care and love and working on it daily and making that commitment. So I just thought that was a really neat thing to kind of relate it to, and it really got me thinking of just how important the power of your mind is. Now, I also believe that limiting beliefs for each and every one of us start when we're so young. Every single person that you meet, every person on this call, they have different paths, different issues, situations, and things that mold them into the person that they are and the limiting beliefs that they have inside of them. The bottom line at the end of the day is it's up to us to get past our own limiting beliefs and overcome them and face them. Nobody can do that for us. There's so much going on up in our minds because of things that have happened to us and things that have made us this way. We have got to stand up to it, and we cannot just let it sit there again and just do nothing with it. No one can do that for us. That's why personal development is a vital behavior. That's why it's so important, because mindset can change everything and you have total control over that. Again, that's why personal development is a vital behavior to do daily. It's not just, a couple times a month when you feel in the mood. It's a daily vital behavior for a reason. It really does make that strong of an impact, not only on your business, but on you personally. So I love to think about it like every coach, you've probably heard this before, they have a toolbox, and you keep adding to it with your programs. I always tell my coaches, if you have a soul program and you come in right out the gates and you start with like the 21-day fix and you want to do 15 rounds, that's fantastic. But you have to add more to your toolbox. You've got to have more to share with people. You cannot talk about just the 21-day fix until you're blue in the face, because not everybody is going to need that. The more you can add to your toolbox, even if you're skeptical, if size comes out, country heat, core de force, and you're like, it's not really for me, you have to give it a try. You have got to add to your toolbox. You've got to, because you don't know who it's going to help, and you never know until you try. And you can't expect other people to want to try something when you're not willing to yourself. I think the more you know, the more you know. And I believe that to be true with personal development books as well, and podcasts and different trainings and whatever you would like to use for personal development. You cannot just stick to, one book. You should not be able to have somebody ask you, well, what personal development books have you read? And you can only name one or two. It needs to be more than that. And just because you pick up a book and it doesn't click to you right then, it doesn't mean that you're not going to need it in 6 months, or that you're not going to read this book and 6 months down the road, something's going to happen in your life and it's going to show up and you're going to be so thankful you took that time for that personal development. So again, I don't think you guys need to stick to one book or one program. You need to expand and really let yourself get out there so that you're challenging yourself to grow and build as much as you can. I do believe also that it does matter what you listen to and what you watch and what you feed your brain. You are in control of that. And your brain is always getting things fed into it. Your mindset is always being battled. I like to look at this like before bed. If I watch like a scary movie or even the news, like I tell myself, don't do that before bed. But I mean, you probably have been there. What do you do then? You go lay in bed and you just stew over it. And you're thinking about it. You're trying to tell your brain, or at least I do, maybe it's just my head, but I try and tell myself, like, I'm not going to think about that movie anymore. Like, I'm playing out all these scenarios, but it's already in my mind because I just laid down before bed, and that's what I chose to put in my mind before bed. So you have control over that. Your brain is always working for you, and I do think that it makes a difference on what you project. You can be selective with what you fill your mind with. You have a total control. I struggle every day with my oldest son. He's 11 and he's in the middle school this year, and he loves video games. We have to limit it, but you have to be mindful of what's filling his head, and I'm very conscious of it because I know the power of mindset. My daughter, I was driving home on Tuesday from taking my son somewhere, and as I was driving home, I decided to put on a song that I had heard a couple weeks back in church, and it has the same catchy thing, Spirit lead me, and I hear her later in the shower and she's singing it because she just heard it, because her brain is thinking about it. So it's little things that show up like that prove to me that what you put in your mind is what's going to stick there. Okay, it mattered what I was listening to because she was still singing it an hour later. The same goes for your business, your news feed, your Facebook. You can get distracted so easily. I know that she had mentioned on the call, Megan mentioned the newsfeed killer. If you don't use that, you need to be using it. There's also an app that I'm sure you're aware of, the Facebook Groups app. You don't even need to look at your feed. You could just check into your groups there. You don't need to get distracted. We're only human, and we see something, all this stuff with the debates and people giving advice about parenting and this and that. It just takes one thing we're just human, one thing for our minds to be set off, and then we're distracted, and then we get filled with negativity if we're not careful. So we see things and we become sour, and then it just propels and it just goes on like dominoes. So be mindful of that and know that you can fill your mind with as much good as you want to, and you do have control over that. And there's little things you can do to make sure that you keep yourself on the right path as much as possible. Of course, there's going to be distractions, but you know that you're in control. The 24 hours that you have in your day, that everybody has, you spend them all with yourself. There's no escaping you. And I always laugh thinking about, my sister lives in Colorado, my sister-in-law, and she's one of my best friends, and she'll come and stay like twice a year, and she'll stay for a good chunk of time because it's not cheap flights and it's far away. And I love her, but after like a couple days with us both here, we're like, okay, we need a little break from each other. Like, we love each other, but it's hard to be around people all the time, even when you love them, and not have tension or friction or issues. You can never escape yourself. You are always with yourself. So you need to like what's going on in your own head. If not, it can get exhausting to battle yourself. You need to take time and realize what you're feeding yourself is it's making an impact on you, and you have to live with yourself all the time. So take some time with yourself and work on decreasing any negative thoughts and energy that you're feeding yourself. I know that sounds really like woo-woo, but like it's very much the truth. You cannot fill yourself with hatred and then negativity and self-limiting beliefs and expect to project good out. This is why so many people struggle with depression and anxiety, and I can speak on that. I've battled that a lot of my life, and I can honestly tell you, after coaching for almost 3 years, it is so amazing what personal development does for somebody. And I wish that they would tell you that when you go into the doctors. I really do, because I feel like so much would be different. The bottom line is you need to take care of yourself. You need to prioritize you. You need to have self-love and care. It is mandatory, not only for your own life, but it is essential in this business. If you don't work on that, you will drown in this business, because you can only work with yourself in a negative situation for so long before you can't do it anymore. You just give up. A lot of times people's advice and people's opinion of us coaching is something that holds us back as well, because our mindset is not strong enough and it's not powerful enough to overcome those battles. So, I always tell my coaches, what we do it's not normal. It's not normal with society. What we do is kind of frowned upon, and it has a lot of ugly things that are said about it. You have to take it with a grain of salt. And you have to understand, the same people standing beside each other, one with a negative mindset and one with a positive. There's the one with the positive mindset who has control of their mind is going to take that hate a lot better than somebody who is not so positive in their mind. On the book, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, he says, which I found so sad, the biggest factor on if someone will come to your funeral is depending on the rain. And I kind of stewed upon that. But there is a statistic out there, as sad as it is, the average person will have no more than 10 people cry when they die. And I know that hits really hard, but the point of that is, before you get upset about other people's opinions on what you do, on what you love, on what you're passionate about, you need to remember that these people's opinions matter nothing to your mindset. Very few people's opinion and way they want to throw what they think so helpful advice at you, it really doesn't matter. And you need to reevaluate next time you get somebody who's battling you. Center your mind, think of where you are, and think about it. Is this person willing? Is this somebody who would really come out and cry for your funeral? If they wouldn't, then their opinion should not even weigh anything on you. The flip side of that is, if somebody does, respect them, think about what they're saying, take it in from a good vantage point, and consider it. However, at the end of the day, like I said, you always have control over your own mind. You just have to learn to harness that a little bit better. Chalene Johnson talks about in a lot of her 30-day push and her podcast, The Bookends, the morning and the night. And I talked about this a little bit with the example of watching a yucky movie or something before bed. But I get up in the morning every single day, 5 o'clock in the morning, before my kids are awake, because I really need that time to have my own time before I can get them off to school and do what I need to do. But the very first thing that I do when I open my eyes, my alarm goes off. I lay there, I have a couple minutes of quiet time. I say what I'm thankful for, say what I'm grateful for, because I need to step my feet out of my bed, and I need to make sure that when I'm getting up with purpose. Then I go right into my office, and the very first thing I do is my personal development. It's 10, 15 minutes tops. It doesn't take much time. Whatever I'm working on, a podcast, a book. If I'm working on something else, but I'm feeling like I need to do something else, I'll do that. But I start there. That's where I start, because I need that push and I need that inspiration to get me through the day before I can even start my power hour or tend to my kids or do anything. I need to get myself right. As soon as I'm done with my personal development, I'm feeling really good. I just said what I was grateful for. I'm starting my day with fire. I have my coffee in my hand, which always helps. And then I go ahead and I make my morning post right there. I like to do it on right in the morning, how I'm feeling. I don't like to set it up at night, because I like it to be as real and raw and open and in the moment as I can. I make my post, I post it. I feel like at that point, my vibes are good for the day. I'm going to dig into my power hour. I'm going to have a good day. Yes, there's lots of chaos and 3 kids in my life, but I'm starting it the best that I can. And then I know at the end of the day, before I get into bed, I'm calming myself. I'm getting in bed and I'm having some reflection. If I wake up and I start my day real good and I have good intentions, and then life happens and my day slowly turns to crap, which it sometimes does, I still know that when I get in bed, I have something that I can lay in there and be grateful for, something that I can reflect on and have gratitude with. Usually, truly at that point, I will make a nighttime post, something that I'm reflecting on. And I might have my post say, and if you follow me, or if you'll see I'm very real and very, very, very upfront and honest. I might say how bad something was during the day, but I always have a light at the end of the tunnel, because there's always something that I can lay there and be grateful for. When I start my day and end it with gratitude and positive vibes, and I know that's the starting point and the end point, doesn't matter what happened in the middle, because I'm setting myself up good on both bookends. And that's just something that I've trained myself to do. Every single one of us as human beings, we deep down have a desire to impact and influence and help others. It is a natural human thing. With this job, your platform is amplified. I think sometimes we don't realize the power that we have to share and to help people. It might not be as large of a stage as others, at least not right now. I mean, you think about celebrities and some of the things they do, and people are so impacted by it. The truth of the matter is, people are always watching you, whether they say so or not. And what you're doing is important, and you have a ripple effect. And I'm telling you, those times where you feel like you're just working so hard and your tires are spinning and you're not getting traction, I promise there's somebody, probably many people watching you, and it just hasn't come their time yet. Has nothing to do with you. It's what's going on in their life, and it's just not their time yet to come to you. But it does come. You just need to remember that your platform is there. And when you share your weaknesses and your struggles while having positive people, by sharing and being relatable, because people feel comfortable then, and then like they can talk to you. So you need to look at the things that you can share, and it might be the harder things to share, and those are the things that people are going to connect with you on, because people want real authenticity. They want personal things. They don't want somebody who looks perfect, that's not relatable, and it's honestly intimidating. That's why I always cringe a little bit when I have a coach say to me, like, or somebody thinking about coaching, like, I just want to, get through these 30 days and see where I'm at, and then I'll jump in because I'll be more confident. And I'm like, sharing your journey along the way is what's going to help you the most. It's going to help you the most. It's going to help your business the most. It's going to help everything the most. People don't want to see the finished, polished product. They want to see how you got there, so that they think and they know that they can do it as well. And you need to get passionate about what you're doing. You cannot expect other people to want to follow you and be with you and join you when you're not passionate about what you're doing. You have got to have that fire. Like I said, get passionate. The most influential people in my life, personally, I can honestly say that they were always passionate and excited about what they were talking about. You think about how all of you are on this call right now. Something made you jump. Something made you become a coach. Something started inside of you that you felt like, I need that. I want that. I got to have that. There was passion there. I think once we sign up, sometimes we let that almost die away a little bit, and it should always be a constant flow. People that have success in this, they're invested. They're committed, and they're invested in what they're doing because something in them wants to be here. If you want to make changes, you've got to get excited. You've got to get passionate. You cannot, look at Core to Force coming out. You cannot just start talking about it the day it comes out, like, hey, this is here today. Like, you have to get passionate now. You have to get excited now. You can't just wait for it. You've always got to be breadcrumbing, and you've always got to be keeping the stakes up high. If you want to change people's lives and help other people, you've got to get their attention. And influential people do that. I I laugh when I can always relate this to the way that we influence people and we don't even know. So I'm sure, maybe again, hopefully it's not just me, but you're driving in the car, you're having a great day. Let's say you got up, you did your gratitude, you did your personal development, you did your power hour, and you get in the car and you're running a little bit late because your kids were being really slow when they needed to get in the car. And you're late, and the person in front of you, they're driving terribly. It's awful. And you're getting more and more angry as you're driving. You're trying not to. You're trying to stay calm. They don't put their blinker on. They're going way under the speed limit. They keep touching on their brakes. You can't get around them. And you feel yourself growing more and more anxious and more bitter at that person. And then I always laugh because when this happens, they'll pull up at a red light and you can finally get around them. And what do? We stare at those people. We look at them. We want to make eye contact. We want them to know that we were mad that whole time we were driving behind them. But that's that person that just is now going to turn and go that way and have their day. They influenced your mood. They had that platform to do it. And you don't even realize how influential sometimes you are to people and the impact that you have. So, that's the thing. It could be such a negative influence, and there's so much of that out there right now. We need to be the people who have the light. We need to be the positive. We need to watch what we're doing at all times so that we can be the people that are making a positive impact in people's lives. And I believe the core of doing that is the whole topic of this call, the power of your mind and keeping that positive mindset and holding on to it as much as you can, holding on to it for dear life. When I did this call for my team, I basically just gave them like assignments. I don't know if you guys want to carry through with this. You guys can talk to Megan, but I thought that it was neat because my coaches, I had them all do this. And then I just gave them a couple days and told them when I wanted them to just share this with their upline and maybe their Success Club partner. But I want you to think on what you need to do to become successful. What can you do? What can you change? What can you do differently that you're not doing right now? Whether that's, I need to get up a little bit earlier. I need to make sure I'm committing to my power hour. I need to make sure that I am truly being a product of the product and I'm actually doing my workouts and having my Shakeology. I need to make sure that I am truly doing personal development every single day. But think about it. And I mean, if she wants to, I had them write down 10 things of what they can do to be successful. And then I want you to share it with your upline and with your success partner if you have one. And not only write these down, you know what happens? This is a really good exercise. We maybe, I say there's 10 people. 3 of them are going to actually, maybe 4, actually do the assignment and write it down. And then there's maybe only 1 of them that doesn't just take the list like they did the exercise and then it just sits there. They actually do it. They actually do what's on the list because they want to become successful. We sabotage ourselves so badly. It's like we can get to the point where, okay, I know I need to write down what I need to do. And then you have them right there, and then you don't take that extra step and do it. And there's just disconnect. And then we wonder why we're not successful, why things aren't changing for us. But it really can be laid out so simply. So I challenge you guys to think about what success looks like for you, what you want, what you can do to achieve that, and then share it, and then actually work on doing it. If you need to take your list of 10 and work on 1 at a time, that's fine. Focus on 1 a week. And then I had some coaches, because I've been doing this for almost 3 years, who I feel like they felt like they were doing really well. They had success. They had met an income guideline. They had met a goal that they had met a rank, and then it dropped. And then they feel hopeless and like they can't get that back. But like we talked about in the beginning, the beauty of the mindset in the garden is you always can pull it back. Just because you fall, it doesn't mean you can't get it back up. So for those people who feel like they had something and then they lost it a little, they fell, they had something happen in their life and they fell off track and they just feel like they can't get their momentum going again. Look back at what you were doing during that time when you were successful. What were you doing differently? Where were you showing up? Write those 10 things down and then go back and do it again. We overcomplicate things sometimes, and it's actually quite simple. If you can keep your mindset right and you could show up and be consistent and truly do the 4 vital behaviors every single day, because that's why they're vital. That is what's going to get you far in this business. And I truly believe that. So that's all I have. I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful. I loved it. I have a question
You are
for you.
so welcome.
What are some of your favorite personal development books that you read?
I have my whole thing. I love I Am That Girl. I don't know if you guys have read that.
No.
Right. That is my favorite. I Am That Girl. Hold on. Let me grab it. I think it's right here. It might be in my car. I think it is in my car. But this is what I'm reading right now. Light is the New Black. It's very, 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 very good. And then I really liked, what is that one? The Fringe Hours is another one that I really liked. And 52 Ways to Live a Kick-Ass Life.
I have not read any of those, so they're all going on my list.
I Am That Girl is one of those books where I've read it like a million times. It just kind of, I really loved it. But I never loved to read, but I do like to have the books in front of me for when I come down in the morning. I like to mark them all up. I like to put tons of sticky notes in there and go back to things. And I'll be honest, like every single post that I make in the morning is fresh from whatever I'm doing with my personal development. It's all coming straight from what I'm doing, and it pertains to what's going on. So I just feel like it's you know, aligning with what I'm doing.
Love that. Does anyone else have any questions?
The analogy I see the question now with the analogy from it wasn't from a book. I will look where I got that and get back to you. I will tell Megan. I got it from another call. It might have been a podcast that I was doing, but I'm sure I have it written down. So I will get back to you on that.
Great. Anybody else? Well, we have Ashley on here for a few more minutes. She doesn't bite. She's really nice. Okay, well, I'm going to stop the recording.